Hey everybody, welcome to Smile Girl Don't Be Nervous. I know. I like that.
Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to Smile Girl Don't Be Nervous. I am Juana. I am the mom.
And I'm Esperanza. I'm the daughter.
And this is Snuggles. This is my other baby. We just literally rolled in from Wright, Wyoming. We had a youth bull riding school through Underground Bull Rider Productions with my bestie. It is one of the agencies that I am on the board for. And we literally just rolled into town, set it really quick, jammed out to some music. And so now we're recording. So Snuggles is probably going to be all up in the mix today because
We haven't been home for the last 3 days.
Haven't been home for the last 3 days. I left Friday morning, and then came home and totally like blitz packed. And then we were on the road. So I haven't really seen Snuggles since like, I don't know, about
Thursday
5:45, 6 a.m. on Friday morning. So
Yeah.
she's going to be all up in the mix today. That being said, we were supposed to have this week's discussion with Shauna, but things were a little crazy over at the school. We had a lot packed into there, so she will not be joining us because she didn't have time. Let's see, what do we got? I don't have the right dates on this one, but I think this one was supposed to be for Valentine's Day. I think Valentine's
Well, I got
Day.
red.
I know. Look at you. You totally planned out right. I did not. I was like, oh, I need to fix this.
Fixed it.
And then I scrolled.
Nailed it.
So sorry.
So this week, what do we got? We got
So we got
Valentine's Day.
and then Single Awareness Day is the 15th, which is the best because that is when all of the candy is 50% off. So
Yeah.
go hook yourself up. I'm just saying.
I think that's it.
I think there's like one more. I have my little book
In your backpack.
in my backpack. That's right here. Hold on one second. Continue on. Remember to hit the bell.
Yeah. Hit the bell, share, comment, like, all the things.
All the things.
I also am running the Instagram. Okay, so I'm busy as fuck with being mom's assistant, being her social media manager, and still going to school. So some days I do fall behind while posting on Instagram, but I promise all the posts will be there eventually. I tend to be like 2-3 days behind, but I promise I will get them up. Just stay with me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have Wednesday, or the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, and Ash Wednesday. So look out for that post on Ash Wednesday.
I don't even know what Ash Wednesday is.
There is it's like where the Catholics go to church, and then they have the sign of the cross on them, and they're like ashes, and then they go like all day with it on. There are some interesting facts about Ash Wednesday that will come out on one of the posts. I was like, oh wow, dang, okay, so look out for that post. Single Awareness Day is February 15th. Hey!
She fucking bit me!
Oh, she's just excited.
Dude!
Dang. All right. She's getting crazy, huh? Single Awareness Day is February 15th. And then on February 17th, we have National Random Acts of Kindness Day. So that's what we got. That's why. Oh, and then Monday the 19th is President's Day and National Lash Day.
Period.
Love National Lash Day. There's a cool picture that I'm going to send out on National Lash Day, so look out for that one.
Oh my god.
And then on February 20th is National Love Your Pet Day. So there is that. Oh my gosh, she is so aggressive right now.
Did she bite you?
No. Yikes. So those are what we have going on this week. Just for a little behind the scenes, this is what I have and go off of, and it has all of like our dates and like when I have posted and like when all the holidays are and stuff like that. So that's kind of where all the social media is planned through and that kind of thing. So
dude, she's like freaking out.
I know she is. Remember to like, hit, and share, and hit the bell for notifications for when our episodes come out.
I found that spot.
So trigger warnings and advisories for this episode is we have toxic relationships and self-sabotage in this one.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a pretty interesting one. A spoiler alert warning, we do talk about past and future situations that happen in the House of Night series. Right now, we are still in the book
4.
Untamed, yes, which is book 4 in the series. This is the House of Night series written by PC and Kristen Cass. They are a mother and daughter duo, just like we are. And it's about a vampire finishing school full of fledglings. Zoe is the ringleader. And she's going through some crazy situations
Yeah, to say the least.
in order to get everything kind of fixed in the House of Night world. So this quote kind of correlates with the last, I think, 4 episodes that we have done. They are all in the conversation. They are having a conversation with Nyx, who is Night incarnate. And for all intents and purposes, their god that they worship and talk to, their deity. So the quote is, "As with all my children, you must find your own path, and through that discovery, you will decide what each Earth child must ultimately decide, whether she chooses chaos or love." So the context for that, Nyx is talking with Zoe, because Nyx has come down and has appeared and is talking with Zoe and Aphrodite. And Nyx is talking to Zoe directly, and this is what Nyx tells her after Zoe tells Nyx that it would be safer if Nyx just told her what Zoe needs to do and what to do in regards to Nefret. So in this particular book, well, in all of them, Nefret is losing her fucking mind. Okay, she is having communications with kind of the wrong side, and she's taken all this power and she's abusing it, and she's treating people badly, and she's making some hugely wrong choices. Zoe has been chosen by Nyx to kind of be her eyes and ears of the world, which we discussed in episode 2, I think. And so Zoe is like, if you just tell me what I'm supposed to be doing, I can just get it done for you, right? Nyx is like, no.
I can feel it.
Yeah, I knew. And Nyx is like, no, this is something that you gotta choose. I can't tell you what to do. It's something that you have to choose, which way you're gonna go, right? So just starting with that, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree.
You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Just because, why?
I think, okay, first of all, your motor is so fucking loud.
I know, she's super excited.
I think with all of the decisions that each of us make, chooses has you go down a different path, and every decision leads to where you are that day.
Just that day?
Well, everything, but everything that you do leads up to that day, and how that day is going to go, and how that week's going to go, and how that year's going to go, and how those 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, your life can be based off of one decision.
Right. Just the trajectory.
Yeah, the domino effect.
Okay. All right. So the article that we are going to be going over today has a lot of Spanish in it. So first, I didn't practice any of my Spanish. I used to be fluent in it. I haven't for a long time now. So we're just gonna roll with it. Of course, I am going to translate everything that I say. So stick with me. I promise I will tell you what everything means. Okay. So the article that we are using is, of course, linked in the show notes, and the article is called "Mi Casa de los Espíritus," and that translates to "My House of Spirits." The rest of the title is "Challenging Patriarchy with Magical Feminism" by Natalie Clavijo. Okay, so this article was published in the 2023 volume 30 issue of Gender Work and Organization, pages 1795 to 1815. So this is kind of a crazy article, because this article talks about how some like legends were created in like the Hispanic culture, particularly in Mexico, kind of when like the European colonies started invading Mexico, and kind of how the culture like switched. And at that point in time, the Europeans were kind of forcing the Mexicans to take over that culture to kind of bring them around towards like Catholicism, okay, as opposed to like, you know, where like the Aztecs and the Tenochtitlan and all of that, like they had like they were dealing with gods, they weren't dealing with Catholicism, right, that wasn't the thing until the European settlers came in. So this is kind of like a transition between like one culture to another, how they were still practicing, like finding ways to practice their culture kind of intertwined with the Catholic culture, and how her story kind of came into that and how she used that in order to determine what she was going to do. Okay. I know, she keeps attacking me because I'm just like with my hands and she's like, ah! So that's kind of like the story of like what's going on here. Okay. So when the European colonizers converted the pre-Hispanic sanctuary, oh, she put her hand like right on the name of that town. Okay, so when the European colonizers converted the pre-Hispanic sanctuary of Tepeyac, which is northern part of Mexico City, dedicated. Stop. Dedicated.
Like this is a bad idea.
I know. to Tenanzin, dedicated to Tenanzin, who is the goddess of fertility and the earth, into a Catholic shrine for the Virgin Mary, the indigenous kept celebrating Tenanzin under the disguise of the Virgin Mary. Okay, the coexistence of Catholicism and indigenous under the disguise or beliefs. The coexistence of Catholicism and indigenous beliefs synchronized into the Virgin de Guadalupe, who became a myth of love, for she is the savior of a culture's destruction, of individual psyches, and the founder of a new culture, the mestizo culture. Okay? So just...
Dude!
She is so loud today. So just to, like, really kind of summarize this up, because there was a lot of words in there.
Just to, like, get this out of the way, Snuggles doesn't meow.
She normally doesn't. Like, this is not a thing that she does, so... Normally
I don't think I've heard her meow in, like, years.
Yeah, she usually does the silent meow. She's like...
Yeah, that's what she does. So her meowing this loud and this much is wild.
Okay, so this is kind of exactly what I was saying. So in the indigenous culture, they celebrated Tenanzin, okay, who is the goddess of fertility and the earth, okay? So then when the Catholics came in, they brought in the Virgin Mary, which is the Virgin de Guadalupe. Okay, so in Mexico, it's called like the Guadalupe, and then here in Catholicism, it's called Mary. Okay, same person. So what they were doing is they were still worshiping Tenanzin while they were worshiping to the Virgin Mary. Okay, as a way to still keep their culture kind of ingrained into that religion. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Into the Virgin Mary. So then it turned from the Virgin Mary to the Virgin de Guadalupe, okay, who became a myth of love, for she is the savior of a culture's destruction. So she saved the indigenous culture from that destruction, okay? Because Tenanzin was still ingrained in that culture, okay? Of individual psyches and the founder of a new culture, the mestizo culture. So the mestizos were the mix between the European colonizers that came in, like the Spanish, right? Mm-hmm. And the Mexicans. Okay. So that's where that mestizo comes in. It's the Spanish and Mexican mix that we've got going on there. Okay, la gente chicana tiene tres madres. Okay, so the Chicana people have three mothers. Okay, all three are mediators. You have Guadalupe, the Virgin Mother, who has not abandoned us. La Chingada Malinche, okay? And then the raped mother... Oh, no, yeah, okay, so she's the raped mother whom we have abandoned. And La Llorona, the mother who seeks her lost children and is a combination of the two, okay? So you have...
Guadalupe, which is the Virgin.
Yeah, okay,
Who
the
has
Virgin
not
Mother.
abandoned us.
Okay, so you got the Virgin Mother, Guadalupe.
Yep,
Yeah,
fuck this.
Okay, then you have La Chingada
Which is the
Malinche.
raped mother who we have abandoned.
Have abandoned, okay.
La Llorona is the mother who seeks her lost children and is the combination of the two.
Okay, so La Llorona is like, she's like a myth, right? She's like a legend. It's like,
Yeah,
she's a
she's
superstitious
well known.
story, right? Yeah, so there is a movie out there called La Llorona, okay? And how we learned about La Llorona is we lived on the west side in Cheyenne. And so we were like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 blocks from Martin Luther King Park. Okay, we used to live on 20th and Snyder, okay? Martin Luther King Park was like Lincoln Way 16, so it was like 17th and like Dillon, I think is where it was at. So we would always go to that park to play tennis because they had tennis courts, and then they had the playground.
Courts.
No, the basketball courts weren't there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then they had that big ass train.
So then they had
Or is that
wrong park. MLK Park you haven't been to.
Okay.
So MLK just had the tennis courts, and then we had a play set, and it was one of those metal play sets.
Oh, that burned your ass every time I was
Oh yeah, so you had to like lay down like your hoodie or whatever, and then slide down the slide.
Yeah.
So you're not like, and sometimes we did still do that.
Yes, I love it.
And the rest of the playground was all made out of wood. So you were always getting splinters in it because you were like grabbing it like to like go up the stairs and stuff because all the stairs were metal, everything else was metal.
Mm-hmm.
So it was wood and metal. So you were either getting burned or you were getting stuck.
Right. Either way, you're fucked.
Yeah, those were our playgrounds.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the other side, so like you have the tennis courts here, and then you had the playground over here, and then you had like a walkway that went like behind the tennis grounds, and then like behind the playgrounds, and then it went on, and then right next, like behind the sidewalk walkway, there was like a creek or a river.
Mm-hmm.
So we never stayed like past dark. Okay, because lights would come on, and sometimes like Daddy wanted to play tennis, and we would for a little bit, but we were always like on the tennis grounds with like all the parents because we didn't want to be by the creek. So the myth, legend, superstition of La Llorona is she cries for her children. Okay, and she cries for her children because she drowned them in the water. Okay. So if you happen to come across her and you hear her crying and you go to her, she'll drown you. Okay? That is the myth of La Llorona. Okay? So you have these three mothers. Okay? So you have La Llorona, right? Who's just like, right?
Yeah.
She's a little tweaked, right? Okay? And then you have Guadalupe, right? Who's like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't she the one on all the candles?
Yes, this is the one on all the candles.
Okay.
Okay, like all the Mexican candles,
Yeah.
right? And then you have La Chingada Malinche, okay? So she's the one that we've come away from.
I was gonna say, I
And-
don't know that name.
And the way that I can describe La Chingada, based on the article, is she's really the fighter, right?
Okay.
Because she's the raped mother. So, of course, she's wounded. And so she is just like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, like, let's do this. And, you know, she is in that fight or flight mode. Okay. So that was just kind of how I understood her in this article. I have never heard of her before this. I've heard of Guadalupe, right? The Virgin Guadalupe, and I've heard of La Llorona, but I haven't heard of La Chingada. Okay, so it was really interesting to see that the three of them
all
connected, right? Kind of like the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Like this is like the Trinity of the mothers. Okay, so in this article, this lady, Natalie. I think, she has 2 kids and she's married. Okay. Her husband, moral of the story is she's trying to leave her husband. Okay. If I remember correctly, he's in the military, but he is not really a good guy. He kind of abuses her and kind of keeps her submissive. And, just like in the Mexican heritage, they try to, keep their women submissive, and they're supposed to do these things and they're supposed to maintain these roles. And she gets to a point where she doesn't want to do that anymore. Okay. So she's trying to leave her husband, but she's trying to figure out how to do that when she's not allowed to work. She's not allowed to leave the house. She's only supposed to be taking care of the kids, taking care of the house kind of thing. And so she's trying to piece it together, like, how she wants this to go. So sorry. My demons. Okay. So, Espiritu, who is God for all intents and purposes in this article, okay, is Espiritu, okay? So she's talking with Natalie and says, I will do so. You must know that the women in your family line paid a heavy price for their escape to freedom. The price will be the same for you. You will go through a detoxification phase. Even if you don't love him anymore, you will have to mourn the relationship and learn to live without him. You will no longer see the world in the same way. You will see that for women, life can be merciless. You will see that outside structures are too strong, and to fight them, you will have to put yourself at war. Sometimes you will win, most of the time you will lose, so your only way out will be to bypass these structures. Okay? Now, I wrote a note here that the way Espiritu talks to Natalie in this article is very much in how Nyx talks to Zoe in the books.
Right.
Okay, like, Zoe often is like, oh, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And Nyx is like, have faith in yourself. Or, she'll be like, I don't know what to say to,
so
my
Zoe
circle.
is Natalie.
And
yes. Nyx is
Espiritu.
There you go.
Okay. And, Zoe's like, oh, man, I don't know what to say in, this situation. And then, Nyx is like, tell them these things. And it just comes to Zoe, right? So Espiritu is talking to Natalie in the same way, in that when Natalie has those questions and she listens, she gets those answers.
Right.
Okay. Now you're underlining over here what you got.
So when Espiritu says, even if you don't love him anymore, you will have to mourn the relationship and learn to live without him. We've all had to do that with past relationships. Not us all. Me and you have had to learn how to leave somebody that either we still love but can no longer love next to them and have to love from a distance, or have to leave a relationship that we may not have love in anymore, but you still go through the
grief process.
Yeah, because you're losing somebody that you're used to having by your side.
I think we talk about that in episode 10, that, any relationship that you lose, you do go through that grief process, because it's not just that you lost your person, it's because you've also lost those, well, we were supposed to do this, and we made plans for this, and we were supposed to go here,
and memories.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be like a relationship. It could be a friendship. I recently...
Or even, graduating a grade. Sorry, I didn't mean to, cut you off, but,
Yeah, graduating, that was a huge thing for me. And I fucking hated school, but I bawled my eyes out because I was done with school.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was such a journey.
Yeah. and even, memories. I recently just lost a good friend of mine. And I wasn't even upset about what had happened. But I was upset because we no longer can make new memories like the ones that we used to have.
Right.
And I constantly ask myself, if I'm telling myself, oh, I miss this person, okay, do I miss them as a person, or do I miss the memories that I had with that person?
Or the feelings that you had when you were in that relationship.
And then the other one that I underlined was, you will have to put yourself at war becomes, hang on, you will have to put yourself at war. Sometimes you will win, most of the time you will lose. So the only way out will be to bypass these structures. The only way to keep going is to fucking fight. And sometimes you're going to end up on your ass.
Yeah.
But you have to get up and dust yourself off and keep going.
Right. And I think, like, that's a lesson that I feel like your generation misses a lot. And I generalize with, like, your generation because there's some people in my generation that do this too. But I feel like your generation is like, yeah, you can do this, and
we very much give that
okay,
toxicity,
and
that toxic. What is it? A toxic.
You're gonna win at everything you do. That toxic positivity. Yeah.
And it's not okay. Like, I've lost many friendships over it because I'm like, bro, like, okay, I support you. How are you gonna get there though? And they're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, break it down smaller. What's your next step to get there? I don't know. Is this something that you really want if you don't have a plan? Yeah, do you not support me? No, absolutely, I do. I really do think that
I'm trying really hard to.
Yes, but I'm trying to understand your ways to get there. And if you don't have a plan, is this something that you can really do?
Right. Or let me help you with a plan, you know?
Yeah, let's figure out this together. Yeah, no, there's hair everywhere.
She's like shedding like crazy.
I can feel it in my throat. And so, like, I've lost friendships over it. Like, that toxic positivity, I don't do.
Yeah.
If you can't, if I truly believe that you are unable to do it, I will help you with it in order for you to get there.
Right.
But I'm not going to tell you, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Because that means I can do it on my own.
Right.
And sometimes you don't have to do anything on your own. It takes a fucking village to do life.
Yeah. It takes a community. You know, like we talked about with Miss Jen. It takes a community to learn lessons and to grow and to move into new situations, and, you know, like that camaraderie and that community and the ability to call people out lovingly, and be a supportive
whatever.
Net or whatever, you know what I mean? Like group, community, whatever you want to use there. Like that is all part of the process, you know, learning how to work with people.
Yeah.
You know, you can have the greatest idea,
but have zero.
But you can't do anything with it because you have to actually talk to people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You have to talk to people to make the first steps and to buy materials and to sell your idea and, you know, to network with people and get it integrated into different things. And that takes a community. Yeah. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to form this business
on my own.
That is great. You absolutely 110% can do that. But then what?
Yeah. Because you don't have anybody to rely on.
Right.
Or to support you, or to help you, or to stand there in the background. Woo! You know, you need those people.
Right. Yeah.
You need that girl in the fucking Cars movie where she's all, I'm the biggest cheerleader. She's like in like the cage. She's all, yeah. So cute.
So what I really got from that paragraph, there was so much here.
Yeah.
So let me just go into a bit further explanation on what's going on in between like Espiritu and Natalie. Is Natalie kind of creates in her mind this like secret room. Okay. And it's her way to like escape from her kids and escape from like the duties of being a wife and the duties of being a mom. And so like what is that movie, War Room? You remember that movie, the God movie War Room? How she just like turns her closet into like her prayer room. It's kind of like that. And the way she describes it is she visualizes this room and like this secret door opens up and nobody is able to find her in this room.
Okay.
In which she goes in this room, that is her time to talk through her things that she is processing out loud and have that discussion with Espiritu. Okay? And I know that sounds really weird, but if you think about it, it's literally what people are doing when they're meditating, when they're praying, you know, and they're having that conversation with whomever your deity is. Right? Same thing, right? And so one, she's got this great relationship with her powers that be, right? And that is super amazing. Super amazing. Okay, so that was the first thing that I got from there. The other thing is this line where it says, "You must know that the women in your family line paid a heavy price for their escape to freedom." That one hit really hard for me because a little bit about my background in it, I'll just tell pieces of my family history here, but I'm not sure what tribe my grandma was from.
We kind of talked about that last
episode. We did kind of talk about that last episode. We think she was from the Trail of Tears because she,
the births.
Yeah, the births went from Kansas City to Colorado to Wyoming. So we think she just followed that Trail of Tears, I believe is the way they went. And then my mom kind of went through a lot of trauma in some different kinds of abuses and being in a foster home. She was the oldest of 15, 16 kids. And she was the oldest girl, so she had lots to do. She was in an abusive marriage, from what I understand, physically abusive marriage. Then ended up, being in some toxic relationships after that. And she didn't ever really have a stable life. And from what I understand, there was some games that were being played in between her and her sisters and relationships. And it was all very weird how all of that kind of was created in that world. And then I was raised and then was in out-of-home care from 16 to 18. Started raising my little brother when he was born and I was 14. Lots of abuse in that situation with both my brother and myself. So there's a lot of trauma that we've had to overcome. The family line has definitely paid a heavy price for our freedom because I'm still working on getting that freedom. I'm actively in counseling, working through some huge deals, and my emotions have been a fucking mess. I'm not even gonna lie. I have been all over the map, trying to work through the feelings and the betrayals and just the betrayals from everybody to the betrayals from myself, and the failures and the rewards and just thoughts. It's all been a process.
So I know there was possible trauma with your great grandma. Nope, my great grandma.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
And then my grandma and you. But you very much turned that cycle around.
I tried really hard.
So don't get me wrong, there was some things I was damn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, we gotta work on that one.
Mm-hmm.
That one kind of hurt.
Yeah,
but it's fine. So with the possible 3 generations of trauma, and then you being okay, this is done.
I'm this is fucking over. We're not doing this shit no more. It's not continuing. Yeah. We're not gonna keep doing the same shit over and over again.
And so with that line of a heavy price, you guys very much did have that, and then me and Anthony have that freedom because you decided to change it around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was this shield. I was no, this isn't gonna happen to my kids, and they're just sheltering you from all of, I tried as much as possible to try to do that with you guys. Unfortunately, some things did get through. And so, we do work through those things pretty on the regular. We talk things out, and we definitely get through that. But the escape from the freedom, I think freedom takes on a lot of different definitions in this paragraph as well. In this particular article, it's talking about freedom from her husband. I see it also as freedom for yourself, freedom from your thoughts, your thought process, freedom from any of the structures that she's talking about, because the structures that she references in this article talk about the courts, right? Because he has money and she doesn't. And so that's something that she has to get through, but the courts don't quite understand that she wasn't allowed to work. So she doesn't have any skills, and so she has to overcome that barrier, and then she has to overcome that he's in the military because it's a different barrier for her as well, and then she has to overcome that her kids are mad at her because now dad is gone, right? And so she has to overcome all of these barriers in order to make sure that she is okay and that she is free in herself. That one really hit home for me because when I left my ex-husband, he cleared out my entire bank account, and so we moved here with no place to go, with just the U-Haul we had our stuff in. We talked about that in a previous episode. I have left relationships where I have left everything. When I ran away from my mom's house, I literally had this like messenger bag, and I had like a pair of jeans and like 2 shirts, some chonies and a bra, along with my school stuff. And that was all I took with me to start a whole new life. Starting over is definitely something that I know how to do well, and that sucks. But I feel like it's something that I have fought numerous times for in order to keep or get that freedom. Right? Do you have anything that you've been in a situation where you're just like, oh my God, I'm finally free? Like, whew, that was such a huge relief that I don't have to do that anymore.
The final time I let go of Cody. Because I was very much back and forth with Cody for about 3 years. And on his birthday, yikes, on his birthday, I finally told him goodbye. And I told him that I did not want to talk to him anymore. I did not want to see him. I did not want anything to do with him. And I finally set those boundaries. And then I walked away, cried, and then was I cried a lot. Because that was my first love.
Right. And that's hard. First loves, man. Woo!
It was hard, and I went through so much physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse with him, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm free. Like, I finally did it. And it took me 3 fucking years to get there.
Yeah. Takes a minute.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to point out in this paragraph is she talks about going through that detoxification phase. I feel like we all have to do that, whether we're leaving a job, whether we're leaving a relationship, whether, we're leaving school. Like, it's a process to go from your life being one way to all of a sudden having it be another way.
So much different.
Losing a pet, moving homes, getting a new car, like all of those things are endings. And as much as I totally was listening to this podcast a couple of days ago, I want to say it was like Thursday or Friday, and it was a podcast about like how to be like the 9 things you need to do to be a millionaire. I mean, it was like, I can't remember, the guy from the Diary of a CEO has a great, that's a great podcast if you listen to it on YouTube, Diary of a CEO. And he was talking about, in his book that he wrote, everybody is all about, yay, starting new beginnings. Like, in order to be successful, you have to learn how to, start anew. He goes, but what people don't understand is you have to also be really good at walking away and ending things, because in order to start something brand new or going on a brand new journey, like starting a new job or, moving into a new house or getting into a new car, all of those also take endings as well. And you have to be knowledgeable enough to say, okay, I'm done with this because I'm going to start this, right? So an example of that is last year, my best friend Shauna, she was working at a bank and she was just miserable. She hated what she was doing. She was struggling so much, and it was just creating stress. She was fighting with her husband. She didn't have any energy. She gained a whole bunch of weight. No matter what she did, it wasn't coming off. And she was just mad. She was just mad, right? But after talking through and doing a whole lot of planning and figuring out what we needed to do in order to get underground going and figuring out some numbers, she left that job. And she left that job in order to focus on underground full time. So she worked tirelessly that entire summer and the rest of the fall in order to get to finals in Vegas. We did our first bull riding school this weekend. We had maxed out at 20, and there were still people who wanted to come. Our last school we had scheduled in October, we had to cancel because we didn't have enough kids that wanted to come to the school. We didn't have enough entries. And in February, we maxed out at 20. So even though she had ended her job at the bank, she had started something new. So that's what they're talking about, is knowing what you have to let go in order to begin. What are you writing?
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh my God. Well, you might as well read it to everybody else because...
Wait, I'm not done.
Well, you got to be done because I am going to move on to the next point.
Okay, so have you everybody knows the saying, New Year, New Me.
I hate that saying.
Okay, right. So, hate that saying because all those lessons, experiences, and memories that were made that last year still impact that future year.
Absolutely. Yeah,
right?
You take those lessons with you.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't just forget everything once it's a new year.
You're not just like fucking clean slate.
Yeah, no, you're not reborn each year.
Yeah.
Okay? The saying, New Year improved me, is better.
Okay.
Because not only do you get to still keep those experiences, lessons, and memories, but you can also improve your life because you can get rid of the negative things that bring you down in life and improve to bring in better and healthy things.
Right. Right. So kind of like what we did for New Year's.
Smash plates.
That's
literally
plates.
what I was going to write.
Yeah.
You didn't give me enough time.
Yeah, so that's what we are doing this year is we did the smash plates, and we're letting go of all of the things that we need to let go of in order to bring in those better things that we need to do.
You have to
lessons.
clear out your mind of those negative things in order. Your mind and your brain can only hold so much.
It's like a closet.
Yeah, you gotta clean it out of those negative and toxic and
old
bad
clothes,
things.
Oversized clothes,
yeah,
trash,
memories. In order to bring in that new stuff.
You
didn't give me enough time to write.
I was running out of words.
I know. It's okay. I can tell. And that's why I should try to write fast because you can see my handwriting just start to get fucked.
Yeah, so the next thing that it says is discovering our magic makes us inevitably dig into our colonial past, its present-day remnants, and remember the many cultures and systems of belief that were destroyed through history. Okay? So, you've got something. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
So, remember the many cultures and systems of belief that were destroyed through history. What about the deleted stories of the Bible?
Yes. Well, there's lots of them.
Yeah.
Well, and TikTok is really bringing them back, dude.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
There's some crazy shit coming out.
Mary Magdalene.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't remember any other ones.
We have the Nag Hammadi scriptures
Yeah.
over here, and we just I haven't read through them all, but we just we're reading pieces of it, and we're like, oh my God.
Yeah. So
how much stuff is in here?
Yeah. So all of those were destroyed through history.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and then you have the Apocrypha, where those books were taken out by the Catholic Church.
Right.
And then I literally saw on TikTok this morning about why they took the Book of Enoch out of the Bible. And then they were talking about, like, the Anunnaki and, like, all of these other things. And I was like, Anunnaki, like, where have I heard that before? And I was like, oh, yeah, ancient aliens. And so I really wanted to do that, but it was, like, a 49-part post for TikTok or some craziness like that. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed. It's written... It's been
and all
edited.
of those, yeah, and all of those
Heavily edited.
stories that were like demolished and deleted, all have like important shit in them, and they make you question your entire existence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything that you believe in.
Well, and like if you just look at even the stories that we've covered here, you know, where we learned about like the sex houses that we had talked about, you know, in that article, and the President's Day, or not the President's Day, Lincoln's birthday post that I don't know if that has passed.
It's not yet.
Or it should be coming up. It should be coming up. Like there are things in there I'm like, what?
I haven't even read it yet. I haven't
like,
even read it yet.
Yeah, like there's some crazy, and so there's always like new perspectives and new facts coming out about like, you know, previous things that just will blow your mind. You know, keep your mind open. Do not be a brick wall. Be a sponge.
Yeah.
So you can
soak it up.
Soak up all that knowledge, and then, you know, you can form new thoughts from there. Instead of just, oh, well, this is what it says, and then, because that's not learning.
No.
That's being
That's being
indoctrinated.
a sheep.
Yeah. So she said, the last thing I have from this article is, she said, I did what I had to do to reclaim my freedom. I was a traitor, a loving mother, a mother that abandoned her children at times. I fought, lost many times, and made compromises to stop this war in the name of love for my children and myself. What she's talking about here is she told her husband that she was going to be somewhere, I can't remember where she said she was going to be, and then she wasn't, and then she filed for divorce immediately after that. So that's what she talks about being a traitor, and that was the only way that she could get the finances in order for her to keep the kids out of the court system. So this like guy was friends with the judge, and I mean, like, it was this crazy story. And so like every time she had went in to go talk to this judge, like this particular judge was ruling in favor of fathers, whereas normal judges in that particular county were ruling in favors of the mothers. And so she was trying to figure out like what was going on here. And some other person stepped up and was like, hey, like, this is what's going on. He's paying off the judges. So she stood up and kind of ratted out the judge, and that was how she ended up getting her kids back. So it was this lady, man, had quite the journey. But I looked at this and I saw myself in her so much. There were times that I was a traitor as well. There were times that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to provide for my kids. They're, you know, a loving mother and a mother that abandoned her children at times. There have been some times where I've been here, but I haven't been here.
The most time that I can think of is when I was a baby.
Yeah. Like that postpartum depression, the postpartum psychosis really hit. I wasn't here after we left my ex-husband. You know, that was a super hard time. You know, there was just like after I lost my job at the GAL program the first time, and then I went into a deep depression after that. Like, that was really hard too, you know, where I had to go pick up your dad to take care of you. Yeah. Like, it's hard. It's hard. It's very chaotic during those times. Very chaotic, because I'm not...
I also think of like when Lisa had rights of Anthony.
Yeah. Anthony's paternal grandmother had custody of him for a month, and that was
rough,
devastating. That was probably the worst time of my life. Yeah.
Because we were living in a hotel.
Yeah, we were in a hotel, and then we ended up in an apartment. We did get an apartment. And then he started coming back home, and then I would be a mess every time I had to drop him back off.
Yeah.
Until he was finally home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, we all have things that we have to work through. What did you have? You're writing whole ass books over here.
It's not that bad. Okay, so so she says that she was a traitor, a mother that abandoned her children at time. She lost many times and made compromises to stop this war in the name of love for my children and myself. So not only did she fall on her ass, but then she got back up in order to keep her kids and be a good mother. Now, being a good mother has no definition. Every kid is different. Every kid does not get the same parenting because every kid learns differently. Me and Anthony raised totally different because we are completely different.
Yeah. I could sit there and yell at Anthony, and he's like,
Okay.
What? I didn't hear a word you said.
I'll sit there and cry.
I know. I'll yell at you, and you were just devastated. I mean, just like the world is ending.
I don't like being yelled at. But I also don't like being like you being disappointed in me. So I freak out.
So let's wrap this.
God damn!
I told you.
Okay, so like my notes. Okay, I'll look. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
And then this is what they're supposed to look like. Yeah.
And then I have back. No shit. Everything's opposite. I don't like it.
So bringing this back around to the quote, what do you think this means?
So she had to choose her own path of choosing chaos in order to better her life for her children. Now, wait, hang on. She had to discover that shit was gonna go down. Okay, that was the chaos part. But she had to do it. I don't like how it says chaos or love. I think it should.
They're very
sometimes
different.
it can be combined.
Yeah,
because she had to leave. She had to cause chaos in order to make sure that she still had that love and everything that she needed for those children.
Kind of, sort of. So, chaos is when you're not in control and everything is awry and there's no peace in chaos.
Right.
Okay?
But love is your peace, is being your peace.
Love is being peaceful.
At peace.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And so I think you can have both at sometimes. In some situations like this one, where she had to have chaos in order to have love for her children and herself.
Right.
Right? But she had to choose that path in order to get there.
Right. Yeah. I think...
And did it tell you, like, an aftermath of, like, her life? Like, after leaving her husband and everything?
No.
That
I mean, like, she got her kids.
Right.
And, well, kind of. So she got her kids back. As far as I know, they are getting along. I mean, you know, parents and kids.
Right.
You know, it's kind of an ebb and flow thing. As far as I remember, because it's been a minute since I read this article, as far as I remember, the husband ended up being deployed overseas, and just kind of checked in whenever. Okay. It wasn't really a priority for him because having the relationship with the kids was not his motivation. It wasn't what he wanted.
Right.
What he wanted was to hurt her.
Right. So it didn't say anything like how if she got like remarried or anything like that.
No.
Okay, that would have been like a good tie up because then
but
she would have had to cause that chaos in order to be better in love.
It wasn't about that though. It was about finding herself.
Right.
And really being okay with it. Being okay with those failures and being okay with those choices that she had to make in those situations she was in.
Right.
And that was a really, really, really big deal for her. And that was when she started seeing the three mothers.
Right.
Right? She was going back and forth in between all three of these mother versions in order to find herself.
Right.
So she moved from being in that chaos of, I don't want to do this anymore, like this isn't who I am, to, okay, I'm okay now.
How are we going to fix this?
Yeah, I'm okay. And she was a mess.
Yeah.
During this whole process.
Right.
I mean, she was falling apart, and she was talking to Espiritu, and she was having conversation after conversation after conversation, and she said that she would be in this room for hours.
Right.
You know, and her kids
are left alone.
Right.
Oh, that bitch is staying.
Oh my god.
Yeah, sorry, that
Jesus. You know, so she was away from her kids for hours. Mm-hmm. Hey, you better not mess with that camera, ma'am.
No, she's trying to jump off.
You know, and that goes back to abandoning her children at times. Mm-hmm. You know, because that is an abandonment for them. She wasn't available for them because she couldn't even be available for herself.
Right.
You know, and that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. What?
Nothing. We'll talk about it later.
You know, it's a struggle, and you know that brings me to the struggle that I'm going through right now.
That's where I was going.
Okay, man, call me out.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just letting you do it because I'm not gonna call you out because that's not my story to tell.
Yeah. You know what? This is the place to be real. Mm-hmm. You know, and this is where we share our stories. And so, just really quickly, had counseling on Friday, and we were talking about. Honestly, I can't even tell you like how we had transitioned to that.
Yeah.
But we were talking about how I call her 306 because that's how much I weighed when I was at my heaviest. I'll post that picture so you guys can see the difference between, you know, her then versus me now. And I don't ever want to go even near her. Like with a 10-foot pole. I don't want to have anything to do with her. And my counselor, Miss Emily is her name, she was like, why don't you like her? And I'm like, because she was sad. She was sad and she was lonely and everybody left her. Nobody loved her and everybody left her. And she goes, even you did. And that sucked. That sucks so much to hear, you know, because that was the chaotic part of my life. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to be her anymore. And I worked really hard to come away from her. I didn't want anything. I still don't want anything to do with her. Mm-hmm. But in order for me to overcome some of the issues that I am having is I have to, she was my partner because she kept me protected for a lot of years. I was her for, I don't know, about a good 8 to 10 years. I was her.
That was all I ever did.
Yeah. So, I mean, 10 plus years. 10 plus years I was her, and she protected me from everything. And she hid me well. She did a great job. And so I have to.
And there was even times where that even brought you away from me and Anthony.
Mm-hmm. How so?
Well, like we couldn't go to the park with you because of how much pain you were in.
Yeah. I was hurting all the time. Yeah. I mean, like pain. Like hurting.
Yeah, and we couldn't clean the house together because you were in pain, so me and Anthony would have to do it.
I couldn't put on my socks and shoes. Yep. I couldn't help with laundry because I couldn't go up and down the stairs. Like, I was in pain.
And, like, that was part of my morning routine was to get up, get dressed, brush my teeth, brush my hair, and then go help Mom put on her socks and shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could finish getting ready. You know what I mean? Like, and so it became a morning routine to help Mom.
Mm-hmm. And so I am trying to figure out how to choose that path. Like, kind of embrace that chaos in order to get to that love with the girl that protected me. So, yeah. It's difficult because I'm obviously fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a struggle. You know, we all have those struggles, but I really think that through the discovery, like Nyx is saying here, we have to decide those things. We have to decide, are we going to stay in this place of chaos and heartbreak and trauma and hurts and harms, or like with the chaos? Or do we choose to step up and step into love? Mm-hmm. Do we choose to take on that hard journey of healing and overcoming in order to get to that peace and be okay with whatever's coming? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that being said, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Mic drop.
Toast clink. All right, well, that being said, thank you for coming to this week's episode. I know that was a lot in like a very short period of time. Kind of flowed really easily, though. I feel like we had some great stories there. Once again, like I didn't say in the beginning, if you would like to disclose any abuse or any harms that are coming your way, please, please, please find a safe adult in order to disclose to. We do care about every one of you that are out there, and we really want you to come to a better, safer life. Mm-hmm. So find who you need to. It is definitely worth it. Find somebody who you feel safe with in order to disclose that information so that you can get some help.
Even us.
Reach out to us. If you have our numbers, reach out. Whatever you need. Mm-hmm. We want to thank Justin Bragg for being a sponsor. Thank you for joining us. Join us for the next episode, which will be episode 24.
Good Lord.
Holy bejeez.
Oh my god. About elements.
It is not about elements.
Nope. Just kidding.
Yeah. I don't know
what
I was doing, man. I think this was one of the ones that I did when I was so tired, because like there was one of those.
There's like 3 or 4 of them in a row that you just like.
Yeah, that I was just like I pushed through, and then like I just like deteriorated. Yeah. and then just exploded. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email or message on YouTube or any of our other social medias. We have Facebook, Instagram, we have TikTok. Our email is smilegirldon'tbenervous@gmail.com. And those of you who are struggling, a personal, heartfelt, you are doing a great job. Mm-hmm. You really are. And I am so proud of the progress that you've made and how far you've come. So I just want to throw that in there. You all are beautiful, and you all have had a crazy journey. And I just want to say I am so proud of you for coming this far. So that being said, come see us next week. Well, we will have another wonderful episode, and it won't be late at night.
Yeah, because right now it's 7:00.
All right, we love you all. Thank you so much for joining. We will see you next week. All right,
bye.